Hi everybody, today I'm going to show you how to glue your picture frame parts together. So it's pretty easy and it's very satisfying because it comes together so quickly and they look so good in the end. So I left you with this sort of ending the last time, and today we're just going to assemble. So you need your two pieces that have the rectangular hole, and you are going to be gluing those together. Line it up so you know what is the best fit. And I'm going to glue mine this way. I'm going to glue to this one because it's got a little bit more stability, even though they're just going to get sandwiched together. It's not as floppy as the corrugated cardboard. And like everything else that we have glued, make sure you get up to your edge. Get a decent amount of glue. It's not going to make this be wiggly, and the cardboard is pretty absorbent. So go all the way to the edge. Use the tip of your glue to smear it flat. Okay, work your way all the way around. Okay, this to this, whoops. And then really press it together with your fingers and slide it around. Sliding it will make it thin a little bit more and it'll make sure that you've got a good stick. Okay, then this piece goes to this piece. Okay, and it's going to get glued like that. Don't worry about the blue. That is going to show through because that's going to be on the inside and you're not going to see it. So this guy, because this is a smaller piece and I don't want to glue everything over there, I am going to just glue to this side. Again, get up to that edge. It's okay if a little bit of glue kind of smushes out because you'll be able to kind of blend that into the side of the paper of the top. And then you're going to bring those two together, slide it around. The U shape tends to move back and forth, so you're going to make sure that it is parallel. Make sure that your sides go all the way out to this edge so that you have that gap in the middle where your picture's going to go. So don't let them slide back in. If it doesn't feel totally lined up on the outside edge, you can always trim it. But it should eventually stay where you need it to stay. And I would just slide it back and forth if it feels like the pressure of it wants to go in. Okay, because it'll eventually stop moving. Okay, then this one, either this way or this way, graham crackers, will go together. And just like the other one, make sure that you're gluing to this part since there's less glue to add. Work your way around all the way to the edge. One cool thing, I mean, I'm not fast forwarding through this, so whatever amount of time you see this taking is kind of the amount of time that it takes. So you'll know what you're going to need to complete this. Now, depending upon what you do to decorate the front, that may or may not take additional time. for drying or for deciding and creative expression. Okay, so this is going to go here. Pinch your top and bottom. Make sure that top piece stayed flat against, so that you just have a single space of where that picture is going to be able to fit down in. The bottom should be totally glued, even if there's a little bit of a space. But make sure that top piece. These tend to curl a little bit at this stage, so if you are concerned about that, you can weight this down. You can weight it down after you've glued this piece on, or you could, you know, glue it in stages. It's up to you. I'm just going to go for it. The easel back, the corrugation, if you can, if you've got the cardboard, make the corrugation be sideways. Okay, you don't have to peel this one, but you're going to peel a little bit. And the reason for that is you want to have a gluable flap. So you can go 2 or 3 corrugation folds down, and then you have this flap that's going to get glued. Okay, so it makes it really easy. If the corrugation was going in the opposite direction, it's a little tricky. It can be done, but it's a little trickier to, you know, sort of peel it back. Plus, you don't end up with the benefit of this being able to fold so easily and perfectly. Okay, so these are going to get glued so that they are flat like this, and this is going to need a little bit of drying time before you do your front. So I'm going to wait to glue this. Just know what has to be done, but I'm going to address this front before I do that, so that you can see it before I put it face down. So I took this little flower and I trim, took a long time. And there's still a little bit of the background color, no big deal. But I'm going to glue it flat to the corrugated paper. Okay, and I'm going to decide what to do. If you like these, that is just a stick. And I made little templates by drawing like a football shape on the fold. And then I used this to trace on the paper. Before I cut the paper, I folded it in half on itself so that I had the color on each side, and it makes the magazine paper a little bit thicker. And then once that was dry, I traced it and then glued it into the fold. You'll need a clip. Here's a clip. You'll need a clip to kind of hold that on. Okay, so that's what that would look like. And if you like that, plan ahead so that you can do that on your frame and then glue it so that you like the positioning. So if I were doing this one, I would probably snap that off and do a shorter one to match. And then without the clip being on here, I would position it so that it's anchored on both sides. So if you think about this guy here, this is glued to the back here, and 2 of these twigs are glued down there, and this one is glued here. This guy, same thing, glued. Oh, this one isn't even glued. It just sits down. Glued here, and then also glued there, and I clipped this in place. But this one's easier, but I wanted you to know how to do that in case you choose. You could put little pebbles, you could do anything. I'm interested in seeing the different appearances of the front, because this is going to be glued completely down. Get a little bit of glue on the back all the way around it. Position it without too much push down so that the corrugation doesn't show through the paper, because then it'll look all striped. And then this needs a little bit of glue here. And a little bit of glue there. Okay, so that's going to be what my frame looks like. It's a little curly because the glue is still wet, which is why I wanted to show you this before I deal with the easel back. Okay, I'm making sure that that has the space that it needs. This is flat, so I can lay this down, and then I'm ready to glue this part. This goes gluey on both sides. And I'm going to glue it so that this corrugated part is at the bottom. And the reason for that is it has a little bit less likelihood of it just kind of flopping all the way back. And you can see it here, I didn't do it. And the paper, I don't know, it tends to flatten. So I'm putting the corrugated part down, lining up the bottom, centering the bottom, and then folding this flap over the top. Now, if you have a light book, you can put that on here, but it's really kind of like that flap that has to get stuck down, okay, because the bottom is going to stay put. Okay, so make sure that there's enough glue on there and position it like that, and then just let that sit, you know, give it some time. If you're doing something dimensional, then I would do the flap first, but for the sake of this sequence, I wanted you to be able to see both parts, and because what's on the front, which you already saw, isn't dimensional, I can do it this way. But if you're doing this guy, I would glue the back, easel back on first, let that dry and be flat. I got a much flatter edge on this one than I did on this one. This curls, and I think I was a little over anxious. I was so excited with how it came out. So just take your time so that you end up with something that is flat. And when it's all dry, you'll be able to, you know, stand it up and reliably count on it not falling apart. So your glamour shot is due on Thursday by midnight, and I would like you to send me a finished shot of however many frames that you end up doing. You have to do at least one. You can make the decision for whether or not the back is campy and, you know, showing the product like mine is, or if you want to flip it around so that it is not colorful. But I'd like you to also consider maybe putting something in your frame. This is just a magazine picture. If you want to put it so that it doesn't have anything in, it's okay, but I think it takes it to a whole other level. So if you have any photographs that you have printed out, you could, you know, cut one of them to put it in there. Maybe it's a self-portrait. Maybe it's a drawing. Maybe it's a magazine picture, whatever. Just, you know, present it as a glamour shot like you're used to doing for all of the other submissions for me. And if you have more than one, you can make a little party of it. Okay, so again, that's Thursday at midnight. And then we'll just take it from there. Okay, so I'll see you soon.